Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another adoption vlog from the past. It's kind of crazy because it's like 2-3 months and I'll be posting these. Anyway, it is Saturday, May the 2nd, 2020. Don't remember when I filmed that other one. Maybe about a week ago. Not much is happening. Basically still in limbo, still just waiting. I'm still hopeful for court to happen maybe June or July, and pickup happening July or August, just with how Bulgaria seems to, the rumors I'm hearing seem to be going that they are going to try to push through adoptions in court cases, and I'm still extremely grateful for my agency for getting me to do all my paperwork before I left, because there seems to be quite a few people that had trip 1 before me, but when they came back they started to do the stage 2 paperwork, and now they're stuck in limbo because they can't get fingerprints done, can't get medicals done, stuff like that. Whereas I did it all beforehand, which if I hadn't, I would be stuck with them because everything was shut down. So I feel very lucky because my court documents are translated, ready to go, just literally waiting for courts to reopen so I can get a court date. So anyway, hoping that happens, hoping to get a court date by June, and then a court date either in June or July, and then hopefully home July or August, depending on how things go. Worst case, I'm hoping maybe September, but I really don't want that. I don't want to start my school year. I'm a teacher. I don't want to start the school year with my students and then leave. So, fingers crossed. Anyway, who knows? The world's a little crazy right now still. So I just want to talk a little bit more about bonding and attachment, and something that I've done lately that has really made a difference for me. So if you didn't watch my last video, you probably should watch it, because I talked a lot about not feeling connected to her, not feeling like my daughter, her not feeling like Emrys, which is the name I chose for her, and just all those kind of things. So anyway, after I filmed that video, I made a conscious effort to, when I looked at photos and videos of her, to call her Emrys out loud. Prior to that, I wasn't calling her anything. Like, I wasn't calling her Emrys, I wasn't calling her Natalia. I was just watching videos of her, looking at her photo. If I talked about her to someone else, I referred to her as Emrys. But in terms of my own little private world, I just wasn't really calling her anything. And so, and when I was in country, I was calling her Natalia. So I made a point to be like, okay, you need to start calling her Emrys. Because if I saw a picture of her, my brain would say that's Natalia. Because that's who it was, instead of saying that's Emrys. I wouldn't verbally say anything or think anything on purpose, but looking at a picture, if you had asked me who that was, my brain would have said Natalia. That was just like the unconscious, subconscious response, the automatic response. You know how like you just have people that you're like, that's their name, or you call someone by a nickname so much that that becomes their name. Like I have some people that I have to think about their actual real name because I'm so used to calling them their nickname, those type of things. So anyway, so I was like, okay, I need this to change. I need her to become Emrys. And I'm like, okay, I am just going to start calling her Emrys. It's going to feel very wrong and very weird at first because that's how it felt like in country when they started calling her Emrys after I signed papers. It was very weird and like made me kind of awkward because I was like, that's not Emrys, that's not Emrys. but and I've had this name for so long too that it was just, I don't know, it was just weird. So anyway, so I'm like, you need to make a conscious effort to purposely call her Emrys whenever you look at her photo or a video of her, and say it out loud. So after I filmed the previous video, that's what I have been doing since. And it took time, although not as much time as I thought. It's only been like maybe a week, I don't know. And it's kind of strange because at first it felt very wrong, very weird, and then it kind of just like became neutral, and now I'm at the point where it feels right. Like I look at her photo now and my brain goes, that's Emrys. There's no thinking, there's no nothing, it's just that's Emrys. The end. And so I still don't feel that connection to her. I still don't feel like she belongs to me. Or anything like that. Like this is not just some magical, in such a short time I magically became attached to her kind of revelation. I just want to share that something is working, and I feel like that was like a tiny, tiny step in our journey together, but I think it was such an important one for me to actually feel like what I have had in my head as Emerus for the last 6-7 years is actually now connected with a specific child. So, yeah, having that connection has been really nice. And I feel like slightly more connected to her because of that, but it's still a struggle. I think it's going to be a struggle for a long time, especially with not having her home. It's obviously even harder because I don't have those times to bond with her. I looked through some videos on my camera, and I found some where she would reach for me, and I would turn off the camera because she was reaching for me. I'm putting down my camera. I'm sorry, people. I'm not filming while she's trying to connect with me. And having those moments and remembering those moments, it's like, okay, we were starting to have some connection. And I think once we are home and having more time together, and my plans for parental leave, I wanted to do some cocooning, but there was also a lot of like outdoors things. I wanted to go to the pool. I wanted to go to Heritage Park. And I think with the virus now, it's actually benefiting me in the fact that it's going to force me to cocoon because once she comes home, we're going to get her home in between waves 1 and 2. So as soon as it's safe, we're going to get her home. And then the second wave will hit and we aren't leaving. She has a compromised immune system. I'm not risking it. It's just not worth it. And so I feel like we're going to have this like forced cocooning, but I'm okay with it. Not 100% because there was stuff that I wanted to do with her. But I mean, we can still go to the park. We just won't be doing swim lessons, and we won't be going to the mummy and baby things at the library. Like those type of things I can't see us doing just because I don't want to put her at risk. We'll go to stuff because she's going to have medical appointments, and we will possibly go to some malls or something like that, but I don't know, we'll see. But I think that forced cocooning is going to help us bonding, because if you've never read anything about cocooning, it's basically like this where she and I are our own little world, and I am the only one caring for her. Very limited outside contact, very limited outside stimulation. And when you rip a child from the only world they've ever known, and you are a complete stranger to them, I mean, she knows me a tiny bit because we spent maybe 15-20 hours together. So I am like a tiny stage up from stranger. And obviously she near the end was realizing that I was not the same as a caregiver just because our relationship in that bubble of a room was different than a typical caregiver. But she does not see me as a parent. She does not see me as anything beyond maybe a little bit more of a caregiver that she really likes, maybe. So anyway, where was I going with this? So anyway, so it's so important for her to learn who I am as a parent. So limiting outside stimulation, making sure there's not like that sudden shock. I mean, especially for a child like her that has spent their entire life in an institution, for her to suddenly be thrown out into the world of loud noises, of chaos. And she did really well when we did her visa pictures, which I was super surprised. So she could be totally fine with a lot of the stuff that I want to expose to her. But I think short term, that forced cocooning to help her adjust to something like there's a dog, there's wind outside, grass. Like there's so many experiences that are totally new for her on top of the whole family stuff, that I think the forced cocooning is going to force me to be more aware of not putting those extra stressors on her during that time. The attachment book that I am currently reading, which is Parenting Your Internationally Adopted Child, talks about that first year home really should be very limited. Unfortunately, because I have to go back to work, we aren't going to get a full year. And then it says about the first 2 years home, really limiting their caregivers, like having a parent, one parent home at all times with them. Unfortunately, again, that first 2 years isn't going to happen. Ideally, my parents will be moving out here, and therefore my mother will take over as a secondary caregiver, which I would much rather her bond with my mom than with some random stranger. So fingers crossed I can convince my mom to move here, especially if I can convince, well, my mom is moving here. I just need to convince her to move here sooner. And fingers crossed I can get her to do it soon, like before my parental leave is done. Because that would be amazing. But where was I going with all this? So anyway, so I can't do things the way is recommended, but we will do the best that we can. And the forced cocooning, I think, is going to help my attachment to her as well, because I won't have anything really going on outside of my little bubble. But yeah, it's just kind of weird now. But I've been like daydreaming about having her home, especially because I don't want to say I know so much about her, but I know so much more about her than I have ever in my entire life known about my child. So like some of those noises that she makes and some of the movements that she makes and kind of her personality a little bit, obviously things are going to change because there's certain behaviors that might escalate and certain behaviors that might diminish. Part of that transition from going from an institution to a family. But just there's certain times when I'm like just sitting there and I'm like imagining, okay, my life 6 months from now, what is that going to look like? And her room was a big disaster for quite a while after I came home, and I've slowly been cleaning it up, and I think that's been helping too. I got her crib mattress, so like just putting those tiny pieces together and knowing, don't know why I'm emotional all of a sudden. That's kind of stupid. Anyway, knowing the specific child that's going to sleep in that bed, knowing the specific child that's going to sit on my lap while I read a book, knowing the specific child that I'm going to change her diaper right there, having those things. And also I've been thinking a lot about feeding and talking to people about feeding and stuff like that, and just daydreaming about why am I like this all of a sudden? This is baloney. Anyway, daydreaming about her specifically and just having her home, and like it's the stupid little things that like having her home and sitting in a high chair and playing with her food. Those are the stupid little things I'm excited for. Having her play in the bathtub, hearing her say her first word, her taking some steps in the hallway, like those, I don't know, just those stupid little things that I've been just purposely taking that time to think about and to daydream about, to try to help myself build that connection to her specifically. Because I know who she is now, and it's funny because when I first met her and didn't feel that connection, I really felt like maybe something was going to happen that was going to make her not be mine, because I have to feel connected to her. After all this time, there's must be a reason why I'm not feeling connected to her. And so I had a lot of guilt about that, because I was like, something's going to happen because it's not meant to be, because if it was meant to be, I would feel connected to her. And the last couple days and stuff with actually purposely calling her Emrys and purposely daydreaming and stuff like that and thinking about our lives together, I feel like that connection is a lot stronger now, where it does feel right. It does feel right that she is Emrys. It does feel right that she is coming home. Anyway, this isn't where I intended this to go. But anyway, I hope that was somewhat coherent. Just slowly, she's slowly feeling like she's the right child and she's meant to be mine. I think it's still going to take quite a while to make her feel like she is mine. And I don't think any of that's going to actually, like, I don't feel like I'm going to make any big progress until she's actually home. Or at least physically in my custody. Because even now it's like, every so often I'll be like, wonder what she's doing. But it's like once every couple days that I think about her. It still kind of feels like a dream that I met her. It still kind of feels like it's just this fake thing that I'm going to wake up from. I have moments where it feels like it's going to be real, but it's still, I don't know. So anyway, I'm going to go now. But yeah, I feel like we're making progress. It's going to be a long journey. It's going to take a long time for me and for her. I'm just glad that I don't feel like a piece of shit anymore for not feeling connected. I think talking to people and researching and stuff like that has helped a lot, because it was rough there where I felt like a horrible person for not feeling this huge bond to her and not feeling like she was mine. I mean, I love her and the love has been there since forever, but having that actual connection that that's my child, and like that concern for her, like I'm concerned for her because there's a virus going on, but not any more concerned for her than I am for anybody else. Like my students, I'm concerned about them too. But anyway, so anyway, she's officially feeling like Emrys. She's officially feeling like she is coming home and that she is meant to come home. And my bags are pretty much packed. That probably helps too, but I need her home. That's what I need. And with things starting to open up, like as of today, in Alberta, is it today or maybe it's Monday? The 4th? Maybe it's the 4th. Things are starting to open up. Golf courses, parks, stuff like that. I feel like maybe it was today, because I think they said Saturday. But then more things are going to open up on the 14th, I think they said. Bulgaria is opening back up on the 13th. So I think as we slowly start becoming this new normal and like seeing that there's an end in sight is also helping me, because I feel like previously there was a lot of unknown about when she was coming home, and it was kind of scary because at some point I was like, is she even going to come home? Because if nothing reopens. But with things starting to open up, and I was actually looking at flights, and they're still flying to Europe. They're still almost flying to Bulgaria. Bulgaria has closed its borders, but they're reopening up the 13th. So like flights are still happening. So technically they could say come get her and I can go get her. Non-essential travel, obviously not, but I mean, this isn't a vacation. So anyway, and trip 2 is going to feel different than I had planned. I had planned on doing some touristy stuff, but I think we're going to do a lot of cocooning in the hotel room. I think that first, the Sunday I'm there by myself without her, and I think a lot of that is going to be stocking up on groceries and food for the week, and just getting ready to huddle down for whatever time we have to be there for. But anyway, I'm actually going now. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you for your love and support. I can't wait to actually post all these videos and feel like I'm not talking to myself as much, although I've been talking on Instagram a lot more than before, because Alberta's done their job. And their whole reasoning why I couldn't talk was to do with finding a birth mom, which I found a match. There is no birth mom. Well, there's not a birth mom in the picture kind of thing. Anyway, feel like I can be more open now. So anyway, I'm still not going to post these until court is done, because I'm a little honest with stuff and my thoughts and feelings and agency stuff, and also because of the fact that I do say her name and I show her pictures and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm actually leaving now. Probably won't update again until courts reopen, and hopefully quickly we get a court date. But I know there's a lineup ahead of us, so I'm not expecting news until June for a court date, and then court date sometime hopefully in June. But meh, I'll update you guys once courts reopen and I hear a little bit more, and then I'll probably update again once we have a court date. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye, guys.